Let me tell you a little story today about a time when I pressed the 3D a little bit too much. The reason why I pressed it and what I was hoping to get out of it seemed to take a step back, and it wasn't until I took a step back that that thing came in. Now, I've chosen this story to be a bit of a cautionary tale for if you're pressing the 3D too much and how you can bring your person to come in effortlessly, just like how I do in this story. But I've also chosen it to show even the people that you watch on here have their low moments and have times when they slip up. We are by no means perfect. So when you have low moments, don't think that you are doing it wrong or you're not good enough or something like that. It's not what comes up that matters, it's where you take it. And that's why I've chosen this story and I suppose put myself out there a little bit, because this is actually a fairly recent story to help you get around that. But before we do jump into that, if you could drop me a like and a comment on this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, be sure to click that bell icon so you don't miss any future videos. And if you do need any one-to-one help, down below in the comment section and the description are all the links to my services. And if you'll remember, probably about a month ago, I said that if my band's first song got 1,000 listens, I would do a competition giving away coaching to one individual. Well, as you can see here, that has happened. So the competition is now open. But to get into this video, I'll talk about how to enter the competition later on in this video. This situation wasn't that long ago. I'd had an upkeep of work. I'd had a few things that had happened that had just kind of pulled me in many different directions. And I'd allowed the stress to get to me just a little bit more than I usually would. And I had a lot more negative thoughts to work through. But these negative thoughts were coming in a more frequent abundance that I hadn't quite anticipated. And admittedly, a few more slipped through than I would have thought. So I was trying to, run the household, keep the business going, keep everyone going okay. We were having a bit of trouble with the baby teething, so her sleep pattern's a bit messed up, so I wasn't sleeping so well. All of these different reasons for why, I slipped back a little. And I ended up pressing just that little bit more, like, hey, you're right, is everything okay? And, give me an answer, basically. Looking at the 3D to give me an answer. And the more that I looked into the 3D for that answer, that she was okay and everything was running smooth and there wasn't any issues that we hadn't discussed, the less I was getting it. And in fact, the more concerned and the more uncertain I actually became. But as with any great, hero story, there's the switch around. I was telling myself, what am I doing? I talk about this stuff as a profession. Come on, get back onto it. Even though there's more negative thoughts and even though there's more stress, as I've advocated to a lot of people, the amount of negative thoughts that I was experiencing and the amount of stress in the moments I was experiencing the stress was vastly lower than the amount of time I had to deal with it. My cat just fell over. So what I ended up doing is I made the decision to stop trying to coerce the 3D reality, not stop asking if she's okay, because I care about her feelings, want to make sure she's all right. But I started asking it from a perspective of making sure she was okay, as opposed to getting an answer to ensure that I could be okay. I switched the narrative. And instead, I went inward. And I saw the best of outcomes. I saw her saying, everything's all good, it's all amazing, and, lovey-dovey, and so on and so forth. Saw myself a lot calmer, a lot more content, dealing with the stresses easier, the stresses having been resolved. And as far as the 3D goes, I completely stepped back from it by doing what was necessary and asking Katie if she was okay, because I care about her and want to make sure she's okay. Not so that she could give me an answer that would make me okay. Within hours of me doing this, Katie sort of started showing up again in a much happier, in a much more freeing, in her sort of bubbly feminine self that she would normally be, because my consciousness had finally allowed it into play. I didn't have to do anything in the 3D reality. And in fact, by doing stuff in the 3D reality, I was actually pushing it away more. Competition information time. Like I said, once my song reached 1,000 listens, I would offer coaching up to £100 for the lucky winner. Now, the way to enter into the competition this time is to be a member of any tier of my membership by this Friday. This means if you wanted to join the smallest tier of only £6, you absolutely can, and you will still be entered with the chance to win the coaching. And even if you don't win, because there is so much exclusive content and free products on the membership, you will still get way more than your money's worth anyway, so it is a win-win for you. So after you've watched this video, head down to the description, check out my memberships, see which one offers best for you right now, enter into the competition, and on this Friday's video, I will announce the winner. But the reason why I tell that story is because when we're manifesting people, we often have this drive to do more in the 3D. You know, if I ask them if they're okay, that'll make me seem like I care, and that will make them happy. If I post these stories and if I double text them and things like that, that will show them that I care and get a better response. If I do X, in turn, I will receive Y. But the problem with that kind of attitude and mindset is when we're doing something to receive something, we often, when manifesting, come from a position of not having. That's why we're doing it. We're messaging more to get their response, to remind them that we exist, because that we want to feel validated by them. So the consciousness that we come at is that we don't have them. Therefore, as my story just showed, runs a greater risk of receiving more of what we don't want, keeping them at bay. As, again, my story showed, I removed awareness from the 3D and went inward and created what I want inward and stepped back from the 3D. The instances in many more than just relationship, but I know that's what you guys are mostly searching for, which is why I'm using this example. When it comes to my relationship, I get the most out of it, fulfillment-wise, as well as from Katie-wise, the less I try to push for it. The more I go inward and come from an abundant space and take actions from a place of abundance and unconditional love, the more I get and the less I actually have to do, as that story just reinstated. So with your 3D reality, whether you're in contact or not, if you want them to come effortlessly, stop making any kind of movement that is unnecessary. Stop double, triple, quadruple texting. Stop posting stories just to get their attention. Stop feeling constantly anxious without them, because that's just creating more of not having them. If you want that anxiety to be resolved because they're in a 3D reality, resolve the anxiety yourself and see things as though they're already the way that you desire them to be. The more you need them to act in a certain way to make you feel reassured, as my cautionary tale should hopefully have shown you, the more you will keep them behaving in a way that makes you feel insecure or unstable. So the best thing that you can do if you want them to come effortlessly without having to press for it, because pressing for it often, leads to less than desired situations, you need to work on fulfilling yourself so that you don't need them to be a certain way for you to feel okay. And instead come from a position of internal fulfillment. You want them to be a certain way to bonus where you're already at, not to complete you or to secure you. And this will equate for anything, not just specific person. If you're having money issues, the more you chase money from an abundance, from a position of not having, the more not having you'll create. The more that you pursue money, but from a joyful, abundant space, the more that you'll create. So if you want your person showing up, go inward and let this 3D die. Stop investing energy into it. Stop trying to look under every nook and cranny to see where the evidence or the movement is. Stop looking for the 3D to shift to prove you're doing it right. Stop with the 3D. The 3D is old. And if the 3D doesn't show what you want it to show, why would you invest your energy into it anyway? At the very least, go and do something else that makes you feel happy in the interim. because you'll know when the 3D shifts because you'll experience it. So there's no point looking, trying to see the evidence and the movements, because you'll receive it, therefore you'll see it, and it only creates more of not having it by doing so. So instead, as I did with my story, let the 3D go inward and see what you wish to experience as though it is already there, and you will create that without having to lift a finger. Whether that's through visualizing, affirming, in a conversation, doesn't matter how you do it, just go inward and reaffirm, reinstate to your subconscious mind, I have my person now. My person is showing up for me in a loving way now. Everything with my person is exactly as I desire it now. Anything that doesn't fit into that category, you put to rest. You turn your attention away from it, either go on to something else to make yourself feel better, or go inward and create the reality that you want. But ultimately, stop pressing the 3D, stop investing energy into the 3D, stop existing within this 3D reality from a state of consciousness perspective, and instead exist up here where everything that you desire to experience is already done. By doing so, you won't have to lift a finger. You can stop pressing and you will get more of a result. This story is one of many that I have, where I have done this very action and got better results. Like I said, my reconciliation being one of those instances as well. But thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, drop me a like and a comment to let me know. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and be sure to click that bell icon. And if you do need any one-to-one help to get you over this hurdle of reacting and pressing the 3D, down below in the comment section and the description are all the links to my services where I can help you with just that. And if you want a chance to win that free competition, I look forward to seeing all of the members that join, and I'll be picking out the winner this Friday. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.